Hey guys, Mustached Tom here to review the movie All in Good Time. Now this is a short film produced by and made by Mr. Efap himself, Mauler. At least written by. I believe he got a different director than himself based on the credits, but I could be mistaken, but I digress. So, since he's put it on YouTube, I think it is only fair to review it as objectively as possible. After all, he is one to elongate his criticisms among many a film, but he is now output material that is here to be critiqued outside of his usual Efap shenanigans. So, I'm here to, again, review this as objectively as possible. Now, based on this short film, I think the writing's biggest flaw, and him as a writer as the biggest flaw, I think that he thinks, Mauler, and this is me trying to interpret his film based on his writing, I think that he thinks that exposition is inherently a bad thing. And I'm here to tell all writers that exposition is neutral. It is neutral to expose information about the world and context therein. Now, there's a reason why I want to read the synopsis that is beyond me, because the film doesn't really do a whole lot to explore this. So, the synopsis reads, a confrontation between the heir of a criminal empire and the relative of one of his victims becomes a battle of wits that can only end in further bloodshed. So, where was it in the movie that even correlated the idea that this was a relative? That's, to me, nowhere in the film. It's not written there. It's in the synopsis. And it's hard to track because of this. And I think, much like that piece of information, if I were to look at, I believe his own video description, if I'm not mistaken, has a very similar thing where it describes information that is just not in the movie. It's not in the short film, as it were. So I'm gonna load it up. So his description is a little bit different from that. I'm gonna read his description. It's slightly different. Alright, so this is his accounting. This is his writing. It must be, right? This is his descriptor below the video of All in Good Time - short film. Alright, quote, during an execution, a chance confrontation takes place between the would-be heir to a criminal syndicate and his captive. Oh, it's different. Time is running out, and the two men explore the choices that led them to this moment. That last bit is a lie. They do not take any time to explore what led them to this moment. None of the dialogue exposes what opportune of choice was there to even withhold. So, there goes our conclusion. based off the narrative. And again, this is all a fault because the exposition is so thin because the writer, Mauler, hates exposition. That is crystal clear through his writing. And the movie, then, must take into account the lack thereof. So what is instead presented, at least for most of the dialogue, is a man executing a bunch of people until the last person who he's gonna commune with. And what he means by explore their choices that led them to here, it's more like running out the clock with gesturing to vague notions. That's what that actually means. Because that's what the script is. It's gesturing to vague motions of like, oh, okay, you're a snake, you're a this, you're a that. And we really don't understand any of this because, again, the writer is too afraid to exposit anything, any given information. Does the writer also hate flashbacks? I assume so, because he hates the time memory store from, what was it, the multiverse movie, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, yes. So, he must also hate flashbacks, I'm assuming, because that would have helped the script. A flashback would have definitely helped the script. In fact, that could have been the time and place to explore the choices that led them to this moment. What does that mean? You have to give me what led them here instead of them just sitting there talking about vagaries. Vagaries don't give me anything. It doesn't give me any information to digest. It's just fluff. Vague fluff at that. And I want to see how long this short is. So it's 18 minutes long. It's not too terribly long. This film, short film, could use with another potential 10 minutes here, quite frankly. To give us flashbacks so we can actually literally explore the choices that led them to this moment. Like, maybe it can explore how the guy got the guy that gets shot in the end, how he prepared to think that this might be a no-livable situation. But we don't get that. We just get that instead we just get the questioning man, I guess I'll call him that, because none of the characters have names, or the boss, as he's referred to in the descriptor. So the boss, I'll use his titles, is just killing people, and then proceeds to waste a bunch of time with the vagaries, and then proceeds to kill the last guy, and then the last guy has some sort of smoke thing prepared that kills the boss. So everybody dies except the guy who's dragging around the bodies, supposedly, I guess. So, does that guy win out? Who knows? But what I do know is that this writing is awful, there's just not enough information. There's a lack thereof. And I think this does come up from a fear of the very things that Mauler has overly criticized over the years, from exposition to backstory. These are elements that can be handled well in film, except every film that he decides to end up reviewing ends up having what he perceives as a bad version of it, so he perceives all of it as bad. Again, I go back to what I just said earlier. And thus, we don't know, again, to the third choir in the room, we don't know what led them to these choices that they have in this moment. They don't explore jack shit. There is no exploration. That's a lie. And thus, the movie falls flat. It's just some boss guy killing a bunch of people and then dying at the end. So what? What did we glean from this movie? What was the deeper analysis? What was the message? What was anything? What, like, did any, like, who cares? That's the big question. Who fucking cares? So, this might be, bizarrely, due to Mauler's own insecurities coming forth as a writer, one of the worst films, short films, I have seen. And note that I have seen and reviewed another short film before. This is not the first time. The very first short film that I reviewed, I believe, on my channel was In a Heartbeat. A film that doesn't have any dialogue. Any. None whatsoever. Yet that movie achieves more stuff going on than this entire short film does. In fact, let me look up In a Heartbeat. Let me see if let's see how quick In a Heartbeat is. In a Heartbeat. I haven't seen this movie in a while. It's been a while, so that was 18 minutes. In a Heartbeat, let me tell you this. The full movie, 4 minutes. 4 minutes versus 18. And in 4 minutes, that movie told me so much about character, so much about their situations, so much about the exposition without expositing. It did so much more work in substantially less time. This is an embarrassing first hauling. Jesus Christ. 18 minutes of my life wasted. Nothing was accomplished. No message received. Just a whole bunch of fuckwits I don't give a shit about dying. Who gives a fuck? Jesus Christ, this is a 1 out of 10. Who, like, I don't know how you can come away saying this was a good film. That was embarrassing. And that's my review of All in Good Time. So if you ended up enjoying my review, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also make sure to check out those links in the description. One will head you over to my petition to help out smaller YouTubers. Second, to my PayPal, we can help support me and my channel directly. And third, to my Discord server. Join, collab, chill, do all that cool stuff for free. And until next time, everyone, bye-bye.